Yeah, I am going to read it from up there. Oh. All right, folks, let's gather in a few. We'll get started. Miles back there? Yes. Hi, Miles. Shabbat shalom.
Great, good morning. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Your name is, I should know. What's your name? Jack. I'm Nancy. I know John. Yeah, now we're all, now we're going. Well, you know.
Yeah. How you doing, Leslie? I'm okay. Shabbat shalom. Just came from Torah study. A few of the folks that are here and people who are joining us on Zoom. So I'm just transitioning from one mode, Torah study mode, to services mode. So you're all here to witness my transitioning moment. But I'm feeling I'm feeling this space. Every space in this building is very intentional and kind of has different aspects to it and kind of brings us to a different place. So that library has its own sort of vibe, and the sanctuary has one too. And so I'm really feeling that movement this morning. And I'm glad to be here with you all and those who will be gathering with us, and including Maggie. Shabbat Shalom, Maggie. And also everyone who's watching the stream. It's Shabbat morning, and we began Shabbat in many, many places, including here last night, with lighting candles and offering blessings and taking a beat just to stop and breathe and attempt to renew our souls. And then lo and behold, we wake up, if we're paying attention and we're observing the moment and the calendar, and it's still Shabbat. Kind of nice that our days begin at sunset. It gives Shabbat this quality, one quality in the evening time and one quality in the morning. So this is Shabbat morning, our sacred obligation to continue observing Shabbat through our coming together and through our prayers and songs and opening our hearts and connecting to one another and connecting to the divine. And so we are here. And I guess the first thing we'll do is tune up a little bit. Leslie's going to help us all get in tune with each other. Going to sing a melody without any words, so you don't even have to look at the page of the book yet. Just kind of dig deep, find your voice. Everyone's voice is different and unique, and put it out there. So you'll catch on the melody if you haven't heard it before, and sing with Leslie and I. And let's try to hear every single voice. If you want to sing at home while you're watching the stream, we'll somehow receive your voice as well and let it blend with ours. So a deep breath. Get ready, and let's all sing together. Everybody, Now we move on to the words from our breath and our spirit, and our utterances can be shaped also into words, and words are important. So among the first words, the tradition teaches us that we ought to try as a spiritual practice to say each and every morning our words of gratitude, of being thankful, to find that source of gratitude amidst the challenges, amidst the things that feel like they defeat us and defeat the world. I've been thinking a lot about 1968, and this time of just a whole lot of assaults on who we are and who we're supposed to be. But even in the midst of all of that, to find that source of gratitude, of thanksgiving. The words on page 51 come from this prescription, of a prescription of prayer, that tell us just to wake up, open our eyes, and first thing, say, I am thankful. Modeh ani lefanecha ruach chai v'kayam. Modeh ani lefanecha ruach chai v'kayam. Modeh ani lefanecha. Modeh ani lefanecha. Modeh ani lefanecha ruach chai v'kayam. Modeh ani lefanecha ruach chai v'kayam. Modeh ani lefanecha. Modeh ani lefanecha. Amen. Page 52. We have to stop here just for a moment because these words from this prayer, which is a morning prayer for those people that pray on Shabbat mornings, like we do in this community. It's here every Shabbat morning for people who pray daily in a more traditional community. This prayer is part of the morning service, and it comes right there. That first phrase comes from this Torah portion, comes from the portion of Balak. We just studied it over there in the library. Matovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. And you're going to hear, actually I'm going to read it right from the Torah, at least that part of it, in a little bit. Fascinating story, but one of the commentaries we talked about this morning was from the Sfat Emet, a Hasidic commentator. And Sfat Emet took a look at these two sort of terms that the blessing, Balaam's blessing, used to refer to the people who were encamped in the wilderness. This is the story, right? Balaam hired to curse the Israelites, and here he makes another blessing for them instead. And the Sfat Emet said, first, Balaam referred to the people as, let's go second first, Israel, right? And first he said Jacob. And the Sfat Emet said something really interesting. In the second instance, the blessing was about a specific place. It wasn't really existent at the time the Torah was written down, but it is now, this place, right? This place is a place worthy of blessing, or that can be worthy of blessing. But the first instance, he uses the biblical character Jacob. And Sfat Emet says what's interesting about the use of Jacob in this blessing is that Jacob was in a lot of places, right? He had to go from the place of his birth to another place and back, and then he had to leave to go to Egypt, right? Jacob was mobile. Jacob kind of represents wandering and maybe even some rootlessness that many of us experience at various parts of our life. And Sfat Emet said, so Matovu isn't just for a specific place. It's wherever we go, we can merit this blessing. Wherever we are, whoever we are, right? And especially wherever we are, including right here. We can merit that blessing of Matovu, that blessing that says, if we really act like, someone is watching us, how would we want to be viewed? How would we want to behave? How would we want to act? And the answer, of course, is we'd want to behave and act to deserve a blessing like Matovu. Like, how good is this group of people? Whoever you are and wherever you are to merit the blessing that we're about to sing together that comes from the Torah portion of the week. And so we sing it for ourselves that we may merit the blessing. We sing it for all the different places and communities and people that we hope merit the blessing of being goodly, tovu. Because the more of that there is, the better shape the world is in. So let's start with us. Pages 53 and 54, this list of continuing blessings and expressions of gratitude for this morning, for the Shachar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzalmo. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has created me in your image. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ruach haolam, she'asani ben chorin. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who has made me Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ruach haolam, malbish arumim. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who provides clothes for the needy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten le'yayef koach. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who gives strength to the weak. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ruach haolam, asher hechin metzadei gaver. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who guides the steps of human beings. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Really? Wait, who's? Oh, sure. Yes, you did. Wow. Well, aren't we lucky? So you came in and said, "Ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov," and aren't we lucky? Well, 10 years and portion balak at a bar mitzvah, no less. That's. Thank you for sharing that blessing, and it's a blessing that we share. Amen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Lisa. Oh yeah, wow, what a gift, this weather. What a gift. Really, no, for sure. You look around and it's not like this everywhere. You know, I certainly wouldn't ascribe it to anything mystical, but we're lucky. I guess I'm sure there's lots of scientific explanations, but I just feel lucky, and I hope that we're able to turn things around so that the kind of the dreadful climate impact is, we figure out how to get that under control. But for now, right here, this morning, the weather is a blessing. And that full moon? Full moon? Tonight, actually, according to the Hebrew calendar, the moon will appear as full as it's going to get. It's the 15th tonight, but boy, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so, yeah, so all those gifts are blessings. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Go ahead, Al. Oh, oh, yes, of course. Well, glad he's safe, glad he's there, and I'm sure having quite an experience. So, and yeah. So continued blessings for him and for everybody over there, Amen. I'm going to do one, so give me a Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. I have to tell this story because I've been meeting with this couple for a year, and their wedding is tonight. A lovely couple, Jeannie and Jonathan. And you guys know the term meet cute? And it's like meet cute. Like it's a people's story about how they met each other. And that there's meet cute, right? All right, so these two, they were in the same preschool class. Come on in, you guys. At the Ethical Culture Society preschool. They were best friends in middle school. They dated in high school. And then they lost touch with each other for like 5 or 6 years. He randomly texted her. And now they're getting married tonight. Isn't that, give me a little aw. And they're so darling. They're so darling. And when they look at each other, they can see each other as they were when they were like 3 and 4. And also at 26, Just sort of, I just thought, it's such an awesome thing. So anyway, thought I'd tell you that story. That's a blessing I'm carrying around with me today. So now for all the blessings, for all that we're grateful for this morning and beyond, let us together sing, Amen. Nicely done. Let us go all the way to page 58. Transitioning to from those morning prayers of warm up and gratitude and sort of opening our eyes and our hearts to the prayers in the service that are sort of lead us in an order, this Seder, the Siddur that we're going to follow with a few moments of kavanah, of diversion, but we have a roadmap. The prayer book gives us this roadmap. So this sort of begins that journey that we're all privileged to go on together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah ve'alma divra kirotei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayedecho Beit Yisrael ba'gala uv'izman kariv v'meru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mivorach le'olam omei omaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithale v'yithalal shmei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata dahamiran be'alma v'meru amen. We are on page 59. Please stand if you are able. We're going to call each other to prayer, this moment of calling, right? Calling out to each other, calling out to the universe, calling out to the divine presence that is somehow both transcendent, all around us we talk about, and also immanent within us as well, but only when we recognize it, right? And that's part of this moment of calling, to recognize the abundance of divinity when we stop and observe it, So this lets us do that, and we acknowledge each other with a little bow as part of this prayer. It's got a bit of an English kavanah, this version, which I'll sing with you, but then we'll transfer right over to page 59 in the ancient Hebrew of the Baruch itself. But let's begin like this, just to make sure we're all awake and present. Okay? I'm not taking attendance. I didn't mean present like that. But, really here. Really here. Like Robert says, right? Where's Robert? Hineni, right? Hineni. I'm here. I'm present. I am glad we are here together. Yada lai lai lai, 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 yada lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yada lai lai lai, 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 yada lai lai lai. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yada lai lai lai, 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 yada lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Please be seated. I think we've already, in our blessings, sort of gave thanks to the natural world with the weather we're experiencing and the full moon that is out these couple of nights. So that was our Yotzer Or, and I'm going to go right over to Shema. We'll sing one song before the Shema in preparation. This notion that we're all connected. As Sfat Emet said, not just those in one place, but those every place. So we are connected to each other. Some of us know each other really well, and there's people here that we haven't yet had the opportunity to get to know, but that's part of community connection. Make a nod to Michael and Miles in the streaming booth who are making sure they're waving to us, making sure that we're also connected to all the people that are watching us from wherever they are. Thank goodness we're able to reach people who want to be part of a Shabbat morning service. And of course, connected to people who aren't here in any sense of the word, who we may never meet. We probably won't meet most of them. But somehow that echadness, that oneness, reminds us that we are connected to them as well. And not only that, but to those who came before us and to those who will come after us. This thread of connection is, I think, a good worldview, a good way to think about our time here. So that thread of oneness is kind of what we want to sing about and think about and pray about, and I think that's why it's in the ancient Torah, right? Because it's ancient wisdom. So here's one way to think about oneness before we sing the words from the Torah. Some of you know this. It's not in the book at all, but it's sort of a mashup of a few different lyrics. But the chorus is really easy. Just one word in the chorus that I think you'll catch on. Let's do it this way. one love for each other, sisters, brothers, and siblings. We're one, but we're not the same. We get to carry each other. Carry each other. Ready? One. There you go. One. 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 Keep singing. One. 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 One love. One blood. One heart. One soul. One drum. One rhythm. One tribe. And all of us singing. One. 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 Oh, one. 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 Love is the temple. Love the higher law. Love is the temple. Love the highest law. Love is the temple. Love the higher law. Love is the temple. Love the highest law. One. 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 One more time. Oh yeah, one. 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 And now we're on page 64. So if it's your custom, this is one where we give you a choice. I mean, you always have a choice, really, but specifically in this prayer, there are some who stand and some who sit, and really looks like, yeah. So on page 64, right there, the first Hebrew characters you see. And we tried really hard to put the Hebrew of the Shema, what we call the Shema, largely how it's written by hand in Torah scrolls, very unique because there is a sentence there, a pasuk, but somehow the scribal tradition helps it stand out even more than it stands out by its message or in addition to. Because it's written, as you can see on the page, with a large letter at the end of the first word, Shema, and another large letter written at the end of the last word, Echad. And scribal traditions are funny because they allow us to create meaning out of them. Not exactly 100% sure why the unique scribal traditions exist, but they do give us an opportunity to teach. And so one teaching here is that large letter is an ayin, it is an ayin, and the other large letter is a dalid. And when you put those two letters together, you actually get a Hebrew word, eid, which means witness. So somehow the Shema was lifted out of the Torah and put into our prayers by the rabbis. It becomes for us a recitation, a mantra, a reminder. And it also allows us to be a witness to the words of our tradition that lead to a universal truth, to something that gives us comfort and extra strength and all of the godly qualities that it promises. That reminds us that we are all echad. We are all one. We are witnesses. Everyone who says the Shema, all over the world, we are witnesses to this truth that we hope to manifest into reality. So with me, take a deep breath, a nishima amuka. Breathing in everything that's good and high and holy about this Shabbat morning. Breathing out the shmutz, the troubles, the pain, the sadness. Letting go of that just for a moment to be one with each other and one with nature and one with divinity. so we come back to our unique selves, emboldened and more assured that we have what it takes to navigate our journeys. So let us together sing these words and be witnesses to this truth. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Please be seated. Continuing on page 65, we are moving towards Deuteronomy as summer kind of advances. Deuteronomy is definitely a summer book of the Torah, and Shema is in Deuteronomy, and the words that follow directly from that pasuk, that line, the Shema, in Deuteronomy, is the following. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlektecha vaderech ushokbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayula totafot beineinecha uktavtam al mizuzot beitecha uvihisharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. And that, more truth. Page 68. We had an interesting conversation last night after services, a bunch of us kind of just throwing down some philosophy. Some of you were there. And one of the things that came up was sort of this responsibility about embracing each other for sure, but also embracing especially those who have been historically or currently marginalized. It's kind of an interesting conversation, and it's kind of where we get to in the service. We get to this place of the story, another excerpt from the Torah put into our prayers, this story about when we were an oppressed people and at the cusp of being free, at the cusp of liberation. And maybe this is the beginning of our sensitivity or our hopeful sensitivity to those who, like we in our story, went through injustice and oppression and slavery. And again, another reminder to continue on that path wherever we are on that journey, to make sure that no one gets left behind, to embrace all who want to be included and not to exclude for any reason. It's a challenge, but it's a challenge that comes directly from our tradition and even from our history, our actual history outside of our stories. So may we all be able to sing songs of freedom and songs of liberation, and may we assist each other in being free and continuing in our freedom story. Micha mocha. Yai lai 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 ya lai la lai yai lai 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 ya lai la lai yai lai 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 ya lai la lai ya lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 ya lai yai lai 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 yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai, lai lai, yai lai, yai lai, lai lai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neder b'kodesh, Nora Tehilo, Hosei Fele, Hosei Fele. Yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai yai. Yayim loch le'olam va'ed, Yayim loch le'olam va'ed, Yayim loch le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai. Amen. Page 70, again, please rise if you're able. Kind of going back a little bit to that Matovu moment, and we'll go forward to Matovu because it's in the Torah portion. But this notion of sanctuary, of, places, although there are places imbued with holiness, a place cannot automatically be sanctuary. It's made so by the people who populate it. And this sort of introduction to these prayers also says that if we are open to it, patach is the verb that's used, then we ourselves can be sanctuary. We can have that within us to walk in the world as our best selves, which is part of why Shabbat just stops us. So after the busyness of the week, we can remember again how to be our very best self, how to be sanctuary for ourselves, because we need it. We sure need it. And sanctuary for one another. So we begin the tefillah, these heart prayers, repeating this verse from the Psalm about opening, about being open. Lai, 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 Adonai. Yai, lai, 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 sifatai tifta. Yai, lai, 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 ufi agi tehilatecha. Ai, lai, 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 Adonai. Ai, lai, 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 sifatai tifta. Ai, lai, 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 ufi agi tehilatecha. Ai, lai, 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 Adonai. Yai, lai, 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 sifatai tifta. Yai, lai, 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 ufi agi tehilatecha. Ai, lai, 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 Adonai. Yai, lai, 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 sifatai tifta. Yai, lai, 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 ufi agi tehilatecha. Ai, lai, 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 Adonai. Ai, lai, 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 sifatai tifta. Yai, lai, 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 ufi agi tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, v'Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chazdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'Nehem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah. Let's read together on page 72 the interpretation to the Avot Ve'imahot prayer. Praise be the God of our ancestors, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, of Sarah, of Rebekah, of Leah, and of Rachel, of Bilhah and Zilpah. Praise be the source of strength and courage, the source of kindness and good deeds. Praise be the source of gentleness and love, of softness and kind words. Praise be the person who transcends strength through gentleness. Praise be the person who perfects gentleness through strength. Praise be the person who acts according to the best that is within. Praise be the person who reaches out to touch the best in others. Praise be the gentle faithfulness of Abraham and the valiant strength of Sarah. Praise be the God who infused humanity with divine potential. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol ata rav lehoshia, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somek noflim verofeh cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, micha mocha ba'al givurot, umido melach, melech meimi umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atala hachayot hakol, baruch ata Adonai, mechaye hakol. Pages 74 and 75, the center, and maybe even the centerpiece of the morning service is the Kedusha. That just means holiness. And this is the prayer where if we choose, we can rise to holiness. We actually elevate ourselves, standing on our tiptoes, demonstrating that we can be even loftier, even more transcendent, even better than we currently are. That we can reach and rise to holiness. And so let us sing these words and together in our hearts, minds, and even in our bodies, ascend as best we can.
Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam,
Kishem shemakdishim oto b'shmei marom, kakatuv hayad niviecha, v'kara ze ve'amar, kadosh, 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 Adonai Sivaot, Milo kol haaretz, kivodo. Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonai, Mahadir, Shimcha bechol haaretz, Baruch kivod Adonai, Mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu, hu Yashmienu, Berachamav lehene kol chai. Ha'ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai leolam, Elohai Zion, Lidor vador, Hallelujah. Lidor vador nogid god lecha, Netzach netzachim kitchud l'chad makdish, V'shivchecha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. Please be seated. Page 76. Another passage from Torah lifted out to insert into the service. And it's all about Shabbat and observing Shabbat. And again, in our way, informed choice. We get to kind of decide how Shabbat fits into our lives and in what ways we observe it, but the idea is time out for our soul. It even says in the prayer, it says, vayinafash, which is an interesting form of a verb. It kind of means to re-soul yourself, right? My wife's in the shoe business, but it's a different kind of a soul, S-O-U-L, not S-O-L-E. But to re-soul, to reinvigorate, to reawaken your spirit, your soul. And I really, there's so much that's dispiriting, right? And clearly in our personal lives, there's much that dispirits us. And in the life of society in these times and the news, dispiriting is such an interesting word. It depletes us of spirit. So if we don't sort of recalibrate and try to regain that soul and that spirit, then we're really in trouble. So that's part of this too. Part of the promise of Shabbat is to re-soul, right? So that we can go back out there to the challenges and to the parts of our lives and the life of the world that are problematic and feel emboldened and have the confidence and the love inside us to do something about those things. That's what this is. It doesn't make all the bad stuff go away. It makes us better equipped to face whatever it is. What's holy, because there's much that's holy, and what is broken. So when we stop on Shabbat, when we do what this passage says, observe Shabbat, keep Shabbat, then we believe that Shabbat keeps us on that path, keeps our spirits where they need to be, refreshed and reinvigorated and alive. That is the hope, and kind of works. It's a good formula. Despite ourselves, we feel it happening, and I'm glad about that. I'm so glad about that. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doratam berit olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doratam berit olam. Ve'ni uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Ve'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doratam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Ve'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doratam berit olam. Here's that re-souling part. U'yom hashvi, u'yom hashvi, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Ve'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doratam berit olam. Ve'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doratam berit olam. Le'doratam berit olam. Amen. Page 77, double sevens. Seven, a holy and mystical number in the Jewish tradition. We have 7 little windows up here above the ark. Just kind of sevens are supposed to really kind of remind us. Tonight at the wedding I officiate, there'll be 7 circles and 7 blessings. Really kind of one of those numbers that's supposed to ring out wholeness and holiness. So it's appropriate that this prayer that's about how we are supposed to serve God through serving one another, one of the holiest of aspiration. We'll sing with Leslie on page 77.
Adonai Elohim.
Yisrael Amecha. Baruch atah Adonai Hamachazir Shechinato Letzion Hamachazir Shechinato Letzion Zion. Amen. As I said before, this on the Jewish calendar is the official full moon time, and also according to our eyes, And the full moon, aside from its beauty and brightness, also is a part of our calendar. And so especially this time of year as the holidays approach, summer is still happening, but we know by the moon cycle that in 2 moons, it will be Tu B'Av, a full moon holiday of love. And then in 3 moons, it'll actually be Sukkot, already jumping over the high holidays. I know, but the moon period is a long time, but it does kind of frame it a little bit. And I was thinking about that. I was thinking about the holidays that are going to be here eventually in a few full moons, and thinking about Sukkot, because it was last year at the end of Sukkot. Actually, when we were observing Simchat Torah, that news started to filter in about the attacks of October 7th, the kibbutzim, and at the music festival in Israel, and the hostages being taken. And hard to believe that in just a few short months, that'll be a year, which resulted in, of course, a horrible war, and many people still continuing to die, and hostages still being held. And this place in our service is about praying for a better world. And there's lots of places that we think about. Some are really close by, and some are far, far away. But it really sort of focused me, knowing that the closeness of that year moment that has led to so much suffering and so much loss of life and so much sadness and desperation, that as I sing this song with you, I will be focused on that and hoping against hope and praying that we can get ourselves to a better place, as the song and prayer says, to build our world, our whole world, and each of the worlds within that larger world, from love and peace and justice and security and compassion and joy and all of the blessings we know make our lives better and make the life of nations better. And it's frustrating that it's much more complicated than just hoping that it comes true. But we have been through moments of darkness that have then turned in. Well, it's the Torah portion, right? We've been through curses that then become blessings, right? Balaam was sent to curse, and instead he blessed. And we have moments and situations that are cursed, and can they morph into blessings? We don't know exactly how that'll look or what the route is to get there, but we've seen it before, and we hope to see it again. This is the bottom of page 79. Yeah, 79. Olam chesed yivane, yada lai lai lai, yada lai lai. Olam chesed yivane, yada lai lai lai, yada lai lai. Olam Olam chesed yivane. Yadai, 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 yadai. Olam chesed yivane. Yadai, 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 yadai. I will build this world from love. Yada da da da, yada da da. And you must build this world from love. Yada da da da, yada da da. And if we build this world from love, yada 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 yada. God will build this world from love. Yada, 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 yada. Olam chesed yivane. Yada, 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 yada. Olam chesed yivane. Yada da, yada, yada da, yada. In the green pages. Always kind of amused myself there. But I mean, someday someone will say that and no one will think of the yellow pages, right? Like, right? That's what I thought of. I said the green pages. I thought about the yellow pages, but there really aren't yellow pages anymore. They've gone the way of other things. What's that about the yellow? Huh? Other lost things, yes. So I don't know. I kind of like the yellow pages. But these are the green pages. This is our song section of the Siddur. Or they're all extra songs, like songs that we don't always go to, but sometimes it feels like the moment is right. So let's sing this one more prayer for peace before we move on to the Torah service. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam.
On page 117.
In the green pages.
In the green pages.
Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu, Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kulam. Amen. So I think I'm going to do something a little bit different this Saturday morning. We're going to not do the Hakafot. My got this knee thing going on, and instrumentation, the fiddler isn't here, I don't know. He's somewhere on the roof, I guess, I don't know. Well, it is playing at the Muni, so I have something to hang my kippah onto, right? So what I like to do, but Torah time is also supposed to be community time. So I'm going to go up to the bima and open the ark and read from the teak like I've been doing the last couple of weeks, because I'm afraid to lift that thing up while my knee is healing for fear of tumbling and all. But I'm going to invite anyone that wants to. You don't have to, no obligation, but if you'd like to come up close to where the scroll is, I'll be reading from, as I said, where Matovu comes from. That's the part that I'm going to chant from the portion Balak. You could come up and kind of gather around, or you could stay in your seats. But I thought, in lieu of doing the circling, where we can kind of connect with each other in a different way, like we do out in the Oneg, that we could do it that way if you want. So is that all good? Is that good? Okay. Oh, I got some thumbs up. So then, tell you what, why don't we stand, if you can, if you're able. I'm going to go up there. Hold on one sec. Okay. Oh, I got to turn it on. Hello? Is that on? Yes. I'm going to read from the teak. You can see it right there. In a moment, I'll open it up and invite everyone up to do the aliyah, either from your place, or if you want to come up and see the matovu right in the scroll, you're more than welcome to do that. But first, let's sing Shema one more time. So this can, and actually the root of Shema is one of the words I'm chanting as part of the chanting of this portion. So this can be time for listening and learning and hearing. We say, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. You may be seated, and if you want to, though, come up. I'm going to get myself situated here. Oh, there we go. See, got some folks. Yeah. Okay. You guys, everybody okay? Is everybody okay? It's weird when my back is to everyone, because then I don't know if you're okay. But I'm confident that you are, or you'll tell me. All right. Yes? I know. This is good. No, it's all good. It's all good. Let's do this. Okay. So anyway, with this little inner circle here and everybody around us, yeah, make a little pathway. Or you could all just come up. All right, Dick is standing, so in the back there, I like that. Good, this is interesting. So let's make the blessing for the beginning of this reading. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach, Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed, Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Excellent. And this is what it says. Vayar Bilam ki tov be'enai Adonai levarech et Yisrael. And Bilam the prophet saw that it was good in the eyes of God when he blesses Israel. V'lo halach kifa'am bifa'am l'kriyat nechashim. But this time, Bilam didn't look for omens to generate the blessing. Vayaset el hamidbar panav. Instead, he set his eyes, he turned his face to the desert, to the wilderness, to the encampment. Vayisa Bilam et einav. And when Bilam lifted up his eyes, Vayar et Yisrael shochen b'shavatav, he saw the people of Israel. They were dwelling in their tribes, or by tribe. V'tehi alav ruach Elohim, and from that he was filled with the spirit, the ruach of God. Vayisa mishalo, and he started to speak in parables, it says, like Proverbs. Vayomer neum Bilam, he said, these are the utterances of Bilam beno Beor, the son of Beor. Ve'num hagever shatum ha'ayin neum. He said, this is the utterance of a gentleman, a word that's not used very often, a gever, whose eyes are open. Neum shomea emri el, someone who hears the words of God. Asher mechazeh Shaddai yechazeh, who sees visions sent to him by God. Nafel v'nafal v'gelui einaim, someone who has fallen, but now whose eyes are open. And then comes his utterance. He's been setting up this proverbial utterance, and I think it'll sound very familiar to you. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Yasher koach, everybody, thank you. All right. Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, I remember. All right, here we go. There are sometimes, Ray just mentioned that while we were locked out or locked in or whatever we were during the shutdown for keeping each other safe from COVID, we were closed here for almost 2 years. So it boggles my mind when I think about it, right? It was literally like close, almost just shy of 2 years before we opened up again. But we were doing our services, as I think many of you remember, totally remotely. So the people leading the services were at their homes, and everyone watching the services at their homes, and the music was on video. And Ray reminded me that during that time, right, you chanted from Balak from your kitchen, he said, reaffirming that every place can be holy, even, maybe especially, Ray's kitchen, which I think is like a restaurant, isn't it? Ray's, it's gotta be. Oh no, Ray's Pizza in New York, right? That famous, yeah. There's like a lot of right. There's a lot of Ray's pizzas in New York, right? Like it's not just one. I think. What's that? Penn Station. Thank you. Anyway, the part that I just chanted, leaving alone for a second Matovu, which clearly was so illuminated for the rabbis that they decided to make it part of daily prayer. It's pretty amazing, especially because they were words from Bilam. Bilam was not a Hebrew prophet, right? He was what is derisively called a prophet for hire. He was sort of a prophet who went wherever he was, asked or paid to go, and the tradition largely treats him with derision. But at the same time, Matovu, his words, now, some would say they're God's words, but we'll talk about that in a second, are part of our, of our spiritual life, So anyway, this part just jumped at me just right before Matovu, because, the story of Balaam is, we talked about it at Torah study, is this fascinating tale, even using talking animals to kind of get us to where we're supposed to go to get to the blessing of Matovu. And there's these 2-3 times where the king of Moab, Balak, gets Balaam to try to curse the Israelites because they're so numerous and they're threatening to him and his people, and he wants to try to weaken them. And Balaam says each time, well, I'm only a vessel for God's words. And so, whatever comes out of my mouth, I don't have any control over. And so each time Balak asks him to curse, comes out a blessing, right? And it leads to a lot of frustration and then a little bit of comedy because of the donkey ride, the talking donkey. But then we get to the last blessing, which is the blessing that we know as where Matovu comes from. And but what happens here, to me, is a transformation story, a transformation of Bilam. The result is the same. He still blesses the people like he did in the previous occasions, but how he gets to the blessings, really interesting and really different. So here's exactly what I read. I know I translated it while I was up there, but here it is in sort of fluid translation. So Balaam, seeing that it pleased God to bless Israel, did not, as on previous occasions, go in search of omens. That nachashim is the word I chanted. It has to do with sorcery and magic and divining, right? Receiving the word by divining. Instead, this time he turned his face towards the wilderness. Who was in the wilderness? The people were camped, right? That's Matovu Ohalecha Yaakov. As Balaam looked up and saw Israel encamped tribe by tribe, the Spirit of God came to him. Now, you would think that already had happened, the Spirit of God come to him. He's this prophet, he's this seer, right? And yet it feels like this is a new situation. And Balaam, because he did something in a new way, right? And then he said Matovu, right? So this final blessing seems to me to be an authentic blessing. In a way that Jacob, after his dream of wrestling with the angel, sort of has a new way about him. Balaam is different, in my opinion, after this episode. Because instead of looking for magic or even looking for God to speak right through him, right? Sorcery or whatever, there's this sort of these terms that have to do with this, what do you call it, the dark arts. This time, he didn't even look up to God. Who did he look at? He looked at the people. He saw the people in their tents. It's not an accident that we introduce Matovu all the time by saying that. It's not like, and people kind of give Balaam a bad reputation. They say, he just said whatever God wanted him to say. But this time I don't think that's true. This time I believe he was truly moved and inspired by what he saw. It says it right in the passage. It's so inspiring to me that Balaam changed his way of prophesying in that moment. He wasn't looking for magic anymore. He was looking in the faces of the people, finding the source of blessing in them, in us. How amazing would that be if we could really do that? If we could gain our own inspiration and bless others by recognizing in them that they, that you, that we are matovu, that we are good, that we have potential for goodness. It's easy to ignore all of that. But this example of Balaam is stunning for me, teaching us to really look around, to look at each other, to try to find the source of blessing in every community, in every person, in every neighborhood, in every nation. Because it's there. There's goodness there. We know there's a lot of division, and there's violence, and there's awful things happening everywhere. But in all of those places, there is also the opportunity to look out at people, and there are always people who merit the blessing. If we would only recognize them, like Balaam, this prophet for hire, recognized. He looked into the midbar, right? And by the way, the word midbar, which means desert, is the same Hebrew root of midaber, which means that which speaks to you, speaking. So this speaks to me powerfully, right? Can we gain that kind of enlightenment? Can we gain that kind of empowerment? Can we gain that kind of hope and faith? Not by magic and not by looking up in the skies, by looking into the faces of people and saying, and being moved like Balaam was moved to say, Ma Tovu, how good. And so when I sang that with you all a bunch of minutes ago, it happens every time. If I focus, when I'm not like somewhere else, right? I'm not looking for omens. I'm looking at us. I feel better, and it's a little bit counterintuitive. We're taught to like sort of not stare and all of those things. But it was actually in the act of looking and seeing that Balaam was transformed, and that the group that was camped in the wilderness received this blessing that is still our blessing to live up to. Karen Foddy said, she came here 10 years ago, and something about being here motivated you to say, Ma Tovu, this is good. Whatever it was we did, we got to keep on doing. And not only in this place, but in all the places that we are part of. Always kind of act as if somebody like Balaam is up over the mountain, looking at us, not looking up at the sky, but looking at us. How do we live up to being Matovu? What can we do to merit that blessing? And that's my Balak teaching. Amen. We got a little time. Does a couple, maybe if two or so people have, I know some of you have studied this portion, and go ahead, Karen, go ahead. Yeah, and yeah. 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 Panim el panim, right, face to face. And I talk about this philosopher who kind of is part of my spiritual sort of growth. Emmanuel Levinas. He was a French Jewish philosopher, and he talked about not only that, when you recognize God in the faces of other people is when you kind of grow as a person. But he also said it doesn't have to be, though, people that you're right in direct contact with. Once you recognize a face, you can extrapolate. So even the face of the person who's half a world away, we have some kind of resonance with. We know that the goodness and the blessing is even in places we'll never be face to face with. But you're right, Karen. And the opposite is Balak tried to move Balaam around to get him to curse. But wherever Balaam went, he saw blessing. So, Susan.
What I really liked about this
Right.
that everyone has God in them.
100%.
I love that
Yeah.
about this, and I don't think that it was perpetuated in Jewish tradition, that there's a lot of, we, they, in Jewish tradition, Orthodox don't think we're Jewish, but, I love the idea that God didn't go into one of our people, God went into someone
Yep.
else, and that
Yep.
we're all, it's that oneness.
Yep. 100%. And the tradition is filled with sort of this struggle between particularism and universalism. It's like kind of like it's an ongoing Jewish conversation, right? And you're right. The fact, and again, I think that's why Balaam plays such a central role in the story. Not Hebrew, not he wasn't in Egypt, he wasn't a slave, and yet he plays this integral role in this blessing that we still use to this day. At the same time, the rabbis of the Talmud, like they did with Esau, for example, really, many of them, not all of them, really tried to kind of isolate him. He's not like Isaiah. He's not like Jeremiah. He's, right? I mean, and again, and I think it's all part of this ongoing conversation. I don't think it's ever one side against the other. It's always sort of this weaving. And it's a tension, to be concerned with ourselves and our family and our people and our tribe or our nation, our tradition. And but what does that mean? We leave out people that are not our family and not in our tribe and not in our tradition. And I think that, again, I always lean on the side of universalism, as you know. But I also hear voices. It's almost like Maimonides always said, balance. How do we, it's less about, is this extreme better than this extreme, or how do we balance between two important ideas? Because it is important to be particularistic, but if you're overly particularistic, you lose sight of everyone else. But if you're only thinking about everybody else, and you lose sight of the people that are right in front of you, you've got a problem too, right? I just recently, we were with Gabe in Washington, D.C., and we saw a production of Hair. And there's that one song that's sung, how can people be so hurtful, especially people who care about strangers, who say they care about social injustice. What about a needing friend? So that's the other side of that coin. It's fascinating to me. So thank you for bringing it up. Was there one more? Are we? Miriam gets it.
Well, of course, I see it totally different.
No.
Of course she sees it totally different.
I always try to get into the mind of the person who first put those words.
Sure.
So we have to remember that,
Well, she said it, I didn't. It is a story. But wait a minute, hold on, Miriam, hold on. At Torah study, how did I start? I started by saying that this is very clearly a folk tale, right? Especially with a talking donkey. That was, right? Did I say that, witnesses? Yeah. And a folk tale that was inserted into the Torah, right? Because there is a Balaam that was mentioned in another inscription from another nearby place. It was written in a Canaanite language. Balaam was clearly like a Paul Bunyan. So I agree with you that there is a scholarly way to look at it and also a meaningful way to look at it. Yes. Right.
by putting those words not to a Jew in the mouth of this seer of Kohanim, I think is showing that this is a person who is not sold on the idea of a God that speaks to
Right.
animals or people.
Right.
I like the fact that he is suggesting exactly what you're saying. He gets his inspiration from the people.
Amen.
So there.
We. Amen. Thank you, Miriam. Man. So thank you for all these perspectives. That's what this is. That's what this is all about, right? We lift each other up and we learn from each other. So thank you. I want to make sure we sing a healing prayer. Now that we've heard words of Torah and we've heard messages of Torah, let us bring to mind the people in our lives who could use a healing touch. We're on page 86 of the Siddur. Names. Anyone have someone that they're praying for? Anyone want us to pray for you? Ray. For Refuah Shlema, thank you. And Dick. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Felice. For your friend, Karen. For who? Oh, yeah. Thank you. Refuah Shleiman. You made me think last night, Steve Arnold had surgery. He's already home. He usually comes every Friday night, and he wasn't there last night, and we were told that he had a little surgery. I was thinking about Steve. Anyone else on this side for healing? Yeah. Oh, we're sending our love and prayers. Thank you. How about this side? Yeah.
Melissa Rowe, who had a cancer come back, and Kevin Halliday, who's also fighting cancer, and I know Ruthie, who's got one, and she's 98 and still doing well, but just
Prayers, and hopefully, also the expertise of the healers too as well. Robert. Oh, we met in Texas. Yeah, Refuah Shlema. Let her know. Thank you. Yeah. For healing. Any other names? Names from the stream?
For my daughter who had to put her dog to sleep.
Yeah.
Yes, we're praying for Jeshua and for anyone impacted by the dam collapse in Nashville.
Oh, right. Thank you. I'm going to add a few more names. We've been asked to pray for Bracha Zelda, Bat Rachel Golda. We're praying for Marilyn Weiss and Jody O'Sullivan, and for Al Barton, and for Heidi Garfield and Carlo Doyle, another Friday night regular who was here with us a week ago, so I think she's on the mend. For Terry Moses, and for Jordan Cronemer, and for all the people who we know could use healing, could use the energy and the spirit from this service to have what we hope is a refuah shlema. So let's sing together, please, on page 86, our healing prayer. Avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mikor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Read with us on the bottom of page 86, the Chatimah of the prayer. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. Blessed is the Holy One who helps us find ways of bringing healing to those who are ill. And let us say, Amen. I want to now move to Kaddish, from healing to remembrance, and honoring our loved ones who have passed away at this time and those who have died in the past year. So I want to ask if anyone is here to say a name or names for Kaddish, to please stand so we can recognize you as a mourner and hear the names of who you're remembering, so that they are not only a blessing to you, but they become a blessing, they really do, to all of us. So we'll start with you, Mariah. Aunt Marlene Eisenstein. Yes. A blessed memory. Thank you.
Charlie Stewart, who was one of my
Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. Sounds like a real connection. Yeah. May his memory be a blessing. Thanks, Robert. Yep. And Susan? Yep.
It was my father's yahrzeit last week, and I wasn't here. I was thinking of him, but
You,
have the community with me.
you do, and please, say his name. Yeah. Your dad and Miriam's dad, and a blessed, blessed memory. You can say his name anytime, but I'm glad it's so close to the yard site for sure. Thank you. Felice. Thank you and I remember, this is the yard site? Yeah, you were going down to Florida, yeah? Yeah, to see her. And Stephanie, for Roger Goldman. You know, I've been saying his name and watching as we get closer and closer to the year. I think July 27th is the date, and we miss Roger. I know you and your boys and miss Roger. The community misses Roger as we get close to this 1 year. So Zikrono Livracha, his memory is for sure a blessing, and all over this place that he helped with you and others create. Thank you. Dick Goldberg. Do you have a name? Do you have a name, Dick? Yeah, my father, David Goldberg. Your father. From Wisconsin. Hardware store? Butcher shop, yeah. Yeah. What was his name, Dick? May his memory be a blessing. Did you have a name, Leslie?
My granddog, Jello.
Jello. And then Michael and Miles, names from the stream? Guys? No, okay. So then let's all stand together, those who are able, with our mourners, so they feel our presence and our love and our sympathy. But I also want to read some other names. Of people who we're remembering. It is the Yahrzeit weekend of Dorothy Drury and Lynn Garland and Ronald Stone and Erica Vygotsky. Also, Stephen McAllister, who I know a lot of people remember, a member of CRC. Burton Garland, Suzanne Weintraub, Mark Maloney and David Martin, Sam Rosenthal and Bob was here last night to say Kaddish for Samuel. Mary Feldman and Marvin Sachs, Ruth Rosenberg and Isaac Farber Kennedy, Rose Telsner, Jane McCrae and Merle Goldstein, Alan's mother, Betty Deal of blessed memory, who was Renee Deal of blessed memory's mother, and here very often at CRC. Jacob Orenstein, Joy's father, and also Sidney Wolf, this coming Wednesday, is Merle's son and Alan's stepson, Sidney, his yahrzeit. And then Albert Wong, who was Diana Baumel's father. Also, among our recent deaths include Ed Pepper and Penelope Moglin. Also, Muriel Hartz and Marilyn Schreier, Kenan Thimangu and Ivan Rich, Ron Kramer and Stuart Rosenberg, Lawrence Weinberg and Dr. Eduardo Sladopolsky, Eleanor Simpson and Gary Sewell, Dana Engelhart and Ann Lee Frank, as well as Rhonda Banford, our member, and Philip Needleman. Remembering Ralph Wafer and Art Levine and Eileen Ehrlich and Hank Davenport, Ellen Jean Vickery and Rick Isserman, Geraldine Schiller and Myra Levine, Gina Rotman, Yakir Hexter, Rose Waldman, and we'll say Roger's name again, Roger Goldman. We remember them all, with love in our hearts and honor in our hearts. And on pages 96 and 97, let us together recite the Kaddish to make sure that they are part of the Shmei Rabbah, the great name containing all of the names of all the people who we remember on this Shabbat and beyond. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shmei Rabbah, be'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chai echon v'yom echon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, bagalal v'zman kari ve'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal, Shmei dekudesha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma ve'imru amen. Yehei shlam Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen.
Oh, say shalom bimromav,
Hu ya'aseh
shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom,
Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Zikronam levracha, may all their memories be a blessing. And Deb, we said Ralph's name as do every service, and we're thinking about you. Glad you're here. Always, really. So we go from that remembrance and that sadness that comes with remembering, but also there's a sweetness to it. So we transition right from that moment to sweetness itself by making a blessing over the juice, the wine, symbolic to us of holiness, but really literally sweetness. And one of the things that we've done symbolically together is we've drank in sweetness together, just the sweetness of being together and being able to be in each other's presence. And so now we physically drink from our Kiddush cup, hoping these moments of Shabbat have made all of us a little closer to that holiness that we seek. And so we make this blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. And l'chaim, to life, to the blessings of life. And so that hopefully if you have time to extend Shabbat into the afternoon or so, we have some food, snacks out there to enjoy and to get to connect with each other further, to meet somebody new perhaps, and to continue this ritual of taking a breather for our souls on Shabbat. So first we have to make a blessing of gratitude. We have challah here, fresh made just yesterday at CRC. It looks like there's at least a slice for everybody. So it's not only for gratitude, but it's also for sharing what we have. What nourishes us should nourish everybody. And so let's make a motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. And now, as some have already started to do, we put our arms around each other. Make sure before we leave this space, proving that not only is this a sanctuary, but we are sanctuary because of it. So take one more look around at the Pnei Shabbat, at the Matovu community that we've created just by being here. Thanks to Leslie for raising us up in song, for all of you for joining along and for being part of Shabbat this morning. It's always a treat and it's a privilege. And let's make sure we bless each other in the spirit of Bilam, in the spirit of the prophet, in the spirit of God, who teaches us to bless others. Let us bless each other. Yivrechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you now and always. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. And may you always be filled with light. May light shine down upon you and shine through you, help you feeling more safe and warm and loved. Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'asem lecha shalom. And for that wholeness, for that peace, even if it comes just in moments, it does help advance us and allow us to grow in spirit. I pray for peace in our hearts, in our homes, in our neighborhoods, in our communities, where you work, where our children go to school. I pray for peace in our nation, and I do pray for peace throughout the whole world, all creation. We can muster that strength because we have each other. And let us say amen. And Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you, dear. All right. So sing a little bit. What can we sing? Hi, Steve Kraft.